Dear professors and member of committee, good morning. My name is Zhou. Thank you for being here for my doctoral defense. Today, I will present my research on the contribution of art to sustainable development transformation, investigating the potential of artistic creativity and public art in policy formulation. Next, I will introduce my research background and motivation, objective, theoretical framework, research hypothesis, method design, results, policy proposal, and conclusions. By the order of report outline, I hope that through my report, everyone can clearly understand the main content and contribution of this study. About background and motivation, environmental issues have sparked social reflection. In this background, what role can art and creativity play? Can art contribute to sustainable development? Can studying this issue provide theoretical basis for public policy make? Now, policy across European countries growing value creativity and innovation, which are crucial to achieving the UN's 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. In this process, art as an interdisciplinary tool can bridge culture, ecology, and society. Not only does Europe recognize the power of art, but Asia countries like China also explore the relationship between art and sustainable development through policy steps. This shows that it is a global trend, not limited to single culture. I hope my research can answer the question, how can art, through creativity, change people's view of environmental and society? What impact does art have when integrated into public space and policy discussions? With this question, I began theoretical and empirical research. About objective. First, the study will explore the development trend of contemporary public art, especially murals. By analyze respective case in Spain and China, explore how art conveys sustainable development conception, inspire community to engage the ecologic discussions. Secondly, examine how cultural tradition and social value empowering art enable innovation and new idea for sustainable development. At the same time, analyze how cultural, social, and political factors shape artistic creation. Make art a tool for social change. In addition, through field interviews and case studies, reviews art's role in sustainable practice. Finally, shows art impact on individual behavior and public awareness. Highlight the unique role of public murals, enhance social and environmental responsibility. Investigate how murals promote public policy engagement. About theoretical framework and research hypothesis. To deeply analyze how promote sustainable development, I construct the theoretical framework that combines sociological theory with an artistic perspective. Based on it, put forward specific research hypotheses. My framework combines Bourdieu's field theory and Habermas's public sphere theory to clarify how art works in social systems. This framework regards art as a cultural field influenced by different asset and power relations, and view public art as a switch to enter public discussion space and shape policy. Under this theoretical direction, I proposed 5 research hypotheses to test the linkage between art and sustainable development in the empirical section. First hypothesis is art is medium of changing environmental awareness. By linking with sustainability-focused art, different communities agree together a consensus, thus enhancing environmental awareness and sharing it throughout society. Secondly, art as a form of community help build environmental social awareness at cultural, economic, and political level. Art is a driving force for social innovation. By showing new ways of think and starting important conversations, art pushes society toward more eco-conscious action and policy. Third is art policy, art movement, and artists are creating environmental and social awareness. Governments and cultural institutions set policy to support eco-focused art projects and encourage artists to incorporate sustainable development ideas into their work, which greatly help raise people's environmental awareness. Fourth, putting theory into practice through art research has a positive impact on policymaking. Through art research, theoretical ideas on how environmental awareness can be applied to actual creation and examination, and people feedback can be observed. Fifth, policy support acts as an important institution variable in impact of art inversion and sustainable practice amplified by cultural policy and resource investment. It's proved there is a significant relationship between policy and art practice. These 5 hypotheses cover different aspects of art roles. First hypothesis is about awareness. Second is about micro-level communication. Third is about artistic practice. Fourth is about practice feedback at both individual and community levels. And fifth is about policy support at community and organization level. About the methodology design, the study used mixed method, combine quantitative and qualitative method to conduct empirical research in 2 main regions, Sichuan, China, and Alagon, Spain. Through online survey, about 300 responses were collected. Respondents were divided into 3 groups: the young artist, head of institution, and community leaders. This group were chosen because they represent the supply of artistic innovation, the management of public art projects, and the organization of interaction between art and the public. The survey design was guided by research questions that included several parts. First, respondents-based background information, such like age, region, identity. Next, their experience, participation in public art activities, and then a focus on their view on art role in sustainable development. To quantify attitude and opinion, I used the link scan item after data collection. I first carry out descriptive analysis to understand overall trend and to provide the base of interview question. while the quantitative result answered the question what is. To understand why and how, I conducted in-depth qualitative research, including semi-structured interview and case study. Semi-structured interviews were held separate with young artists and institution leader and community leader, total 45 people. I focused on people with strong opinion from survey and make sure to include a mix of different backgrounds. Interviews were conducted online, each lasting about 20-30 minutes. Audio recordings were transcribed into text and then subject to thematic analysis. I first read all transcript to get all overall impression and coded line by line, making key information related to research questions. The initial coding was open and a sentence could have several codes. Then similar codes were grouped to extra high-level themes. In addition to interview, the study also conducted research on typical case. The part used multiple case study method. Cultural map were created to examine public art practice in Sichuan and Oregon, and the policy analysis was carried out for both regions. Thought literature observed. The research design fully leveraged the breadth of quantitative data and the depth of the qualitative insight. Survey provide reliable data support, while interview and case study offered rich explanation and detail complement each other. Next, I will explain the main result. The positive contribution of art to sustainable development are significant and multi-layered. All 5 hypotheses proposed in this study were supported. Data show that art invention can indeed raise public environmental awareness, promote social participation, impact policy and the community. At the same time, the study showed the community engagement and policy support are key factors influence the effectiveness of art. Through comparing China and Spain, I found that the way art helps sustainable development are mostly the same. But each culture has its own unique traits. These results strongly support the CC topic. Art makes unique and effective contribution to sustainable development transformation. Quantitatively, the data shows the public expect a lot from art and that art really shapes their attitude and behavior. Qualitatively, we saw real change and the story that confirm this number represent social effects. The verification of all hypotheses is follows. First hypothesis is significantly enhance environmental awareness. Secondly, art is communication medium and drive of innovation is reflected through community case and cross-sector collaboration. Third, art movement and art mention in many respondent descriptions such as art festival and eco-art community. Fourth, theory applied to practice positively affect policy making as verified by interview themes and case outcomes. Fifth, the importance of policy support is reply confirmed in both quantitative and qualitative data. Together, their diverse piece of evidence point to one conclusion. Embedding art in sustainable development strategy has both theoretical logic and practical effectiveness. About the policy recommendation, based on the finding, I put forward policy recommendation to fully harness art roles in sustainable development transformation. This suggestion from the perspective of government, management, and public policy offer concrete idea for supporting and using art to advance sustainable development. The core is create a more flexible institution environment, making it easier for artists and the community to carry out sustainable terms art projects and strengthen coordination among different departments. Below are the main recommendations in brief. First is increase funding for public art and ensure its continuity. It's recommended that governments establish dedicated funding to support environmental and community-themed public art projects in the long term. Currently, many art programs rely on short-term or one-time grants, which is hard to sustain. Secondly, integrate art into sustainable development and urban planning policy. I advocate trade art as an effective means to promote sustainable development in policy. When drafting urban planning, community development, and the environmental awareness policy, art intervention should be included. Third, support continued leader. Art participation project policy should lean toward the grassroots. Empowering community and cycle organization. Many communities have cultural and environmental needs. If given some support, can organize great art active on their own. Fifth, enhancing information sharing. The study found that some artists and organizers are unaware of existing policy. Therefore, it is recommended that government improve transparency and training. A sustainable art resource platform could be established to centralize funding project listing, application guideline, best case, and more, for easy reference by art community and public. Fifth, establish evaluation and feedback mechanism. My final recommendation is to embed project evaluation and feedback in the policy system for positive loop. Overall, this policy suggestion aims to include the art more closely in the sustainable development policy system and provide full support for practice. With space, resources, and guidance for policy, artists and community can drive sustainable development goals with creativity and grassroots approaches. About the conclusion, this study confirms that art can play an important interdisciplinary role in promoting sustainable development transformation through theoretical conclusion and empirical analysis. I answered the key question from the start, came up with a slow model, and made a practical suggestion. In conclusion, I will summarize how the research field existing knowledge gaps, validate the hypothesis, and look ahead to future direction in field. In a social context, art can indeed be effective means to connect people and naturally promote balance. From personal aesthetic experience to community-level public participation, art have a positive impacts on multiple levels. Through public art projects, the public environmental awareness is raised, shown by increased attention to local environmental issue and higher social participation. Discussions to spark by art project influence local policy, sparking new community eco-project. The result together prove that art is a potential force in sustainable development progress. Second, the theoretical framework proposed in this study has practical support. I summarized it as a model covering visual community and interactive feedback, cultural transmission, and policy support. Fully describe the mechanism of art's effect on sustainable development. Both survey in interview review these elements. For example, in visual communication, we saw how mural cover environment message, interactive feedback. We recorded changes in attitude and feedback after public participation in art, in cultural transmission. Cases showed that art can combine traditional culture with modern environmental awareness to enhance identity. In policy support, we repeat here example of funding and institution factor effect success and failure. This shows the framework pulls together past scary idea and clearly explain what we are seeing. Theoretically, its framework provides a foundation for future similar research to the feature event the tested. Practical if offer idea implementation. To realize art role, it's necessary to consider the linkage of cultural, social, and institution dimension. Third, the cross-cultural comparison conclusions are inspired by comparing the context of China and Spain. I found that many heard of effect of promoting sustainable development are universal. Under their own culture and system, the focus art are role differ. China emphasizes government leadership, while Spain values citizen autonomy. Finally, I want to emphasize the practical and policy significance of research. My thesis not only discussed the relationship between art and sustainable development in academic, but also offered actionable recommendations. The findings clearly show that if we want to broad and deep sustainable transformation, art must be an important direction in policymaking. Art has the potential to promote sustainable development, and policy making should fully unleash the potential. I hope my research can be useful in both academic and potential level. Thank you all for your time and attention.